We will get that up and going right now. So, yes. So, g'day, Dean. A few people here. So, let's get this party started. We got some prizes tonight, some cool stuff, and let's get into it. So here we are, lots of people over there having a chat. Good to see the, if you're on the YouTube, say g'day, because I can't see a lot of YouTubing going on. I just confirm that it's happening. We'll go over here, look at my channel, it's live, beautiful, love that. Righto, so yo, Amanda, Walkabout Prospecting on the YouTube, they're all there. Ross is there. Beautiful. So, big night on the 6000. This is the clearest picture that we can find of it. So, welcome all. So, tonight's prize, all you need to do is make a comment. We have Minelab cap. Since it's a big Minelab night, we've got a Minelab bucket hat, and a Minelab bucket hat. Both the same hat, just they're reversible. They're very cool. So, so guys, if you've got questions about the 6000, let me know. These are reversible. Let's go. Right, so big news out through the week, of course, that the brochure came out. So here we go here, brochure. So we'll get into that in a minute. Just want to you know, put my thoughts out to everyone that's being flooded at the moment. We got some rain around the place. So stay safe, guys. Remember, if it's flooded, forget it, from something like that. So yeah, guys. So let's talk about the 6000. So there's a heap of stuff we already know. Okay, I've got some notes here because I don't want to forget anything. So there's a heap of stuff we already know. I want to talk in detail about the coils. I want to go over what I believe GeoSense is, right? And we'll show you a couple of pictures that you might not have seen. And then what I want to do is go through the spec sheet. So the spec sheet looks something like this, right? So what I've done, this is the spec sheet. So what we'll do is we'll go down the list. So let's just get a bit of an overview of my thoughts of it to start with. Let's work there. Let's start from there. I didn't think about how to start this, so it's not going to be, because it's called the 6000, it's not going to be better than the 7000. We know that straight away. So the 7000 is still going to be the king. Okay. The major features that I suppose would help you make the buying decision between a 7 and the 6 is the weight. Okay. So the weight is going to be a big difference. So it's just over a kilo lighter. So weight wise, it is, I should know this off the top of my head, and I don't, 2.1 kilos, right? So 2.1 kilos. The 7 comes in over 3, so it's a heap lighter than the 7's going to be. So performance is not as good as a 7, right? But it's lighter. Okay. Now you see here when we start talking about comparing it to a 5000, I believe this will be better. However, not that way, this way. If you see here, it's got the battery on the detector, so you don't have a battery cable sort of thing. It's also one advantage it's got over the 7000. It's got an external speaker. I know you've got the wireless speaker with the 7, right? But this has got a built-in speaker into it. You can still use the headphones, the Bluetooth headphones, but I still think that this is going to, and from all reports, although I did see one today, but all reports, this is going to be better than a 5000, much better than a 5000. Okay. Now, comparing it to an SDC, is sort of, it's going to be much better than the SDC. There's one reason I would buy an SDC, and that is probably because it's waterproof. So being waterproof, okay, the SDC's being waterproof, you can actually trade. You can actually. Here we go. We got to get it translated into Arabic again. We'll have to look at that. So we'll have to see if we can do a automatic translator, because I'm not real good at Arabic, to be fair. Yeah, so the SDC is waterproof. This bad boy is not waterproof. The coils are waterproof to a meter, but not waterproof. Okay, so we might have to look at the Arabic. That's the second time around. So, now Cameron makes a good point here. The 5 can be better than the 7. The SDC can be better than the 5 and the 7. The Gold Monster, for instance, can in some circumstances be better than all of them. But if we're talking generally, this is going to be a better machine. Now, right, so we'll just get some questions around that now. I've noticed a few scroll by, so I just need to scroll back. So Maddie makes a good point here. So this is a GPX. This is not the GPZ technology. This is not the 0 point technology. Okay, thanks Maddie for bringing that up. So this is pulse induction technology. Okay, so we're still, that's why it's GPX. It's still in the pulse induction world. Okay, so it's SDC, 5000s, 45s, 4000s, 3500s, ATXs, Garrett ATXs, all those sort of machines. Okay, so so it's in that world of, if you like, world of pulse induction machines. Now I don't like talking about performance of a machine until I've had one in my hand. I'm hope to have one in my hand very, very shortly that I can actually run some tests on. But it from all reports, and I've talked to a few testers external from Minelab, is it is substantially better than the 5, substantially better than the SDC, and in some circumstances as good as the 7. So, yes. So, what's a Desi here? What's a lightweight, low budget, fully waterproof, approximately 10 meter detector? They don't exist, Desi. Normally, as soon as you go to waterproof, right? Waterproof over 3 meters tends not to be light, tends not to be cheap, and yeah, absolutely. Pulse dive is a little tiny one. It's probably not like a big detector sort of thing. So weight of the 6000 is 2.1 kilos. So I believe it's just lighter than the SDC. I think the SDC is 2.3 kilos. So yes. So lots and lots of questions here about machines. When's the 8000 come out? When's the 9000 come out? When's the, I'll guarantee to you that every machine, every company, whether it be Garrett, Minelab, Fisher, Technetics, Bounty Hunter, Nocta, all of the brands, right, are developing new machines. There's no doubt about that. When they'll be released is no idea, no clue, sort of thing. And a lot of these machines are developed for a long time, and they take a long time to perfect. So when we're talking about a weight comparison here, there was someone there. What weight is a 45 or a 5? So if you were to take, for those users that have got a 45 or a 5, if you were, I think the 5 and the 45 maybe they're about the same weight as this machine without the battery. Okay, so if you unplug your battery, right? I think I've done this test, but I can't exactly remember what it is. I've done this test where you take the battery off the 5 or the 45, completely remove the cable and the battery, and you put it on the scales. This machine will weigh, including the battery, right, about the same. I think they're a bit heavier. So, right, yeah, GPX, there we go. GPX 5000 is 2.4 kilos without the battery. Okay, so, Desi, we're getting off track here a little bit, but I'll answer this one. What would you recommend free driving? For free diving, I would, if you wanted a real detector, like a decent detector that goes down to 60 meters, I would look at the Excalibur. Great machine. Right. So, now, let's talk about coils, okay? I may even have some, I have a bit of a sneak peek coil pictures here. I mean, they're a white disc, right? Let's be honest here. I've got all 3 pictures, right? I can even put all 3 pictures up. However, we will put all 3 pictures up. So that's the 11-inch. There's the 14, right? They look very, very similar to each other. And there's the 17. There we go. So the 17 is an oblong coil, okay? I don't know the exact size of the width of the coil, but it's 17 by 13 or 17 by 14 or something like that. So let's talk about coils, okay? So it's, from what we understand from the spec sheet, it's coming out in Australia, okay, with the 11-inch mono coil and the 14-inch double D coil. Okay, so in other parts of the world, they're coming out with different packages, right? Different packages. And there's a big reason for that, okay? If you were to look at Africa, right, not a lot of EMI. The ground generally, I'm not being specific here about specific areas, but generally the ground is not as highly mineralized, okay? They also have a stack less EMI. So where the 14-inch coil, the double D coil comes in, is EMI. It copes with EMI very, very well, apparently, and those really high salt areas that are very hard to get into. So that's why they've put this package together. Okay, so 11-inch round and the 14-inch double D, and you'll be able to get that bad boy as an added extra. Okay, so if you want a bigger coil, it's there for you. Now, aftermarket coils, 5,000 coils, standard GPX coils will not work on them. Okay, there's a whole lot of stuff going on inside that coil, so it's not going to, the new coils aren't going to work. It's going to be a similar thing that we've had with the 7,000, okay, where the 7,000 has got standard coils, right? And then we will have to wait for the aftermarket manufacturers to develop the coils and to suit these machines, with, of course, Minelab's blessing, of course. So that's how that works. So that's sort of coils, right? My gut instinct will be most people will be swinging 11-inch or that one, right? 11-inch or that one as you go to coil. And then the 14 is going to be very, very important where you get into EMI, power lines, all that sort of stuff, particularly Victoria, WA, where there's, well, not so much WA with the EMI, but there's a lot of EMI in Victorian places. And WA and some of those salt lakes and what have you, I think that double D coil will be excellent. But your standard coil will probably be the 17 or the 11, right? So, yes. So, now, people talking about why don't they let us pick the coils, right? Because that's a logistical nightmare. So, that's the problem with it. So, it'll come out as a standard pack, right? And, yeah, it'll come out with a standard pack. Then you can then you can, yeah, then you can add on if you want, because some people will be happy with the pack. Because, like, Minelab aren't stupid. I've worked this out over a period of time. They're not stupid, right? They're going to put the coil on that they think that the operator is going to get the best results from, okay? It's like the coil on the, let's say, the coil on the Equinox, right? 800, right? They've picked that specific size coil. There's a reason they didn't bring that machine out standard with a little coil or with the big coil, right? Is because that's the size that they think's the best. And then there's aftermarket coils like that one that you can, not aftermarket, but add-on coils if you think you need it, sort of thing. Mono coils will definitely work deeper. It's a big coil. It's much bigger than my head. Saw a video today where I scrolled past a video because I think I'd seen it before of a coil on the bottom of a helicopter. This is getting to that size, but yeah, it's a big coil. So, right. Let me just scroll through here and see if there's any questions I can pick up just quickly. So Ed talks about the GPX 4500 with a small battery is the same weight. No, it's not, mate. The GPX 45 is heavier, slightly heavier than the new 6000, but you'd have to throw the get rid of the battery. Okay, so yeah, so the 6000 is very, 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 very light. Okay, so it's not going to compare with your 5s or 45s if you count the battery. Okay, so let me scroll here. We've got a little bit of a new system here where my comments are on a different screen, so it's confusing me. I'm a simple man. So, Scott, how can Nugget Find make better coils than Minelab? Just thinking out loud. It's often a question I've had, but I don't know whether. I don't know. And I don't know whether, like, the aftermarket coils seem to work better for me. My gut instinct would be that they're different, but not the same, not better. But they are better. They certainly are better. So I don't know. Yes. Now, there's a stack of questions here about. There's a stack of questions off topic, right? I'm going to try. I'll try to get to them at the end if I can. But we're trying to stick on topic, so don't think I'm rude. That I'm not answering your questions if you're asking about detector locations or other stuff. I'm just going to try and stick on topic tonight. So there's a question here that's on topic. Is the 17 a mono? So the 17 is a mono and the 11's a mono. So that's a 17. That's a mono there. Then the 11 is a mono. So it is a mono coil. The double D is the 14. Okay, so yeah. How many of us use? Jamie makes a point. How many of us use a double D? Haven't used one in 2 years, the same as a lot of people in Victoria. So yeah, you could argue that. However, there's probably areas that you can't get into that have a lot of EMI. So I would suspect that that's going to be a bigger advantage to have that double D. I don't know. I haven't run it up against electric fence, so yeah. So I don't know, but I'm open to it because I think double Ds. A mono is much more sensitive, but a double D coil if you can run the sensitivity up high on it or get into areas that you can't get into normally with a mono coil, I think it's well worth it, sort of thing. Righto. Don, what can you tell us about the shaft? Is it balanced? No idea. I will report back to you once I've put one in my hand, sort of thing. So, Douglas from Stanthorpe, how are you? GeoSense GeoSense. Let's talk about GeoSense. Okay. So GeoSense. If you were, someone asked, who asked that? GeoSense isn't it just auto ground balance? Well, that is a very, very simplified, by my understanding of it, it's a very, very simplified explanation, but sort of. So GeoSense is supposed to analyze ground noise against target noise. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's supposed to minimize the ground noise and maximize the target noise. Now, if that's just it's not just an auto ground balance because it's maximizing target signals. So I don't have a lot of detail on that GeoSense yet, but I think that could be a real asset to the machine where you get, particularly, I don't know about you, but my local golf field is all over the place. It is just changing, and there's pockets of highly mineralized ground that sound like a target. You open them up, gone. Right? Now, I think that this could be very, very good in that mixed ground where it's hot and it's cold and it's hot and it's cold and there's pockets and there's all this going on in the ground. So I would expect that this GeoSense PI is going to be very, 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 very good in that sort of country. So here we go. I've got to put it on to remind you that you've got to make a comment. So if you're new here, right? If you're new here and you want to win the world's coolest bucket hat, right? In reversible bucket hat, very, very flash, right? You've got to make a comment. Okay, maybe the black one would look better on me. It'd disappear. There we go. I'm not a bucket hat man, to be honest with you. I look like a mushroom, to be honest with you. A mushroom. Anyway, make a comment, win a hat, win a bucket hat, right? Win a mushroom hat. So, righto, where's my spectacles? I can't see a thing. So, GeoSense PI, I think, will be a game changer, particularly in that changeable ground. Okay? So, next thing. Size. Let's talk about size. Okay? Now, I do need to go through this list here, so we want to talk about it in detail. So, collapsed 67 centimeters, right? So 67 centimeters, it's very, very short for a pulse induction machine with the exception of the SDC. So it is very, very, very short. So it doesn't fold up as such. It just shortens up in the shaft and gets to 67 centimeters. So I think that will be a very, very good thing. Right, so let's just go through them. Now, Luke, you might have missed this before, but it only comes with two coils, the 11 and the 14. In Australia, the big coil is an aftermarket coil. Righto, so. Now, Scotty, big question. When is it coming out? And I think we're all sure that it's around the 8 gram mark. Everything I see and hear, Minelab haven't officially released it, right? But I believe, right? I believe it will be $7,999, right? I believe that's the price, okay? So price-wise, that's it, okay? So it'll be that $8,000 mark. I'm almost certain of that. It hasn't been released officially, but yes. Now, when are they being released? That is another question that I don't really have an answer for. I would expect it to be sooner rather than later. I would think that the what I believe is happening, and no one's told me this, but with the Wu-Tang virus, I like to call it. Let me get bigger here. We'll get the chat going, right? We'll get this chat going so we can all see what we're doing, right? So with this Wu-Tang virus, right, everything's slowed down. Production has slowed down. Everything's slowed down, right? So I believe that Minelab will be very, very cautious in saying it's going to be out on such and such a date because they don't want to muck it up They don't want to muck it up and say, yes, it's going to be here on such and such a date, and then it's delayed by 3 weeks. So I would expect to know a release date almost when they're here, right? That's what my gut instinct says, because they don't want to. It's already been the marketing side of it's been released by the Africans or someone or other, but I would expect that it's going to be a very, very short lead in, because they want to ensure that the stock's coming here. It's on a ship, it's heading this direction, or it's on a plane, or wherever they, whether it's going first class or 73rd class. But I would think that's what's going to happen. So I would think I'd be lucky to get a week for the pre-sale on them, sort of thing. So I would think that that's what's going to happen. So yeah, right now, we've talked about the price. I'm a mile behind, guys. I'm going to scroll a bit here. Now, when we talk about the speaker, right? Someone mentioned the speaker here. I've got a thing here. So the speaker, right, is supposed to be an answer to, it's supposed to be an answer to, how the SDC sometimes isn't quite loud enough, and well, sometimes I struggle to hear it. Maybe I'm deaf, right? So that speaker there, right there, is supposed to be the answer to that. So it's supposed to be louder. I think one of the videos that came out or something or other that said, that it's, louder and clearer and all sorts of stuff. So when we're talking about audio, right, it's got Bluetooth headphones, so wireless headphones. So it is so you're instantly wireless if you want to wear headphones. Now, I haven't run it. I don't know. I would expect there to be no delay on the headphones. I would expect the headphones to be much more comfortable than what the some of the headphones out there are. I would expect it to be a now there's a good idea too. But I'm not going to. I've stopped scrolling. So, but I would expect it to be much more comfortable. The headphones. I would expect the audio to be better. This is going to be a better audio machine. There's no doubt about that. Now, someone said here. Someone said here that I should give away a bucket hat included in the release. I should have a bucket hat and a mug. Someone here reckons I look better in a bloody brown one. We'll get on the brown one then. Maybe you got no taste. So there we go. So I'll get a mug. I think I've got mugs. I have got a couple of mugs up there. So Gold Digger's mug, right? The greatest pairing in the world. Gold Digger's mug, Minelab app. So that's the prizes for tonight. So if you win, one for YouTube, one for what's that other platform called? Facebook, right? Facebook. And yes, we'll get them out to you. So all you've got to do to enter is make a comment. Okay, that's it. Make a comment. If you're new here, say good day. No one bites here. Right, Mr. Magoo. Someone's called me Mr. Magoo. Right. So, right, 8,000. Yes. Malcolm. Oh, Malcolm needs 2 hats. One for the missus. Malcolm, I'm sorry, mate. I can't help you with that. Now, let's talk about batteries. Okay. So a lot of people put out. I'm just going to scroll and stop looking. Right. I'm going to get to the bottom so I can catch up. So, let's talk batteries. If you looked at this spec sheet, right, before it was released from Minelab, that's why we didn't release it, right, is that there was incorrect information on that spec sheet, right? It is crazy that some people put that out there, right? Now, the Australian version comes with 1 battery, okay? Now, the African version comes with 2 batteries, right? So a lot of people will say, oh, well, that's stupid, you know, not looking after Australia, all this sort of stuff. Okay. Now, the problem with that, right, is I'll just bring up this this picture of the brochure here so we can have a look at what I'm talking about. Okay. I have got a better one, but there you see the headphones, the chargers, the battery, the whole works and jerks, right? So, what are we talking about? So, single battery, okay? Now, I believe, now no one's told me this, I'm making this stuff up, right? But I believe that when you think about what they do with coils, in that the coils are suited to the country, the same thing is happening with the batteries. Most of us have charging with us, right? So it's not, as long as we get a full day out of it, we can whack it on the charger, job done, right? I am certain that second batteries are available, right? The problem with it is that I think the African version will be more expensive, right? So it's not that we're missing out, right? They've done that to probably meet that $8,000 price point, instead of it being $8,249 or whatever, you know. So you will not be missing out of anything just because this pack comes with one battery, right? I should just point over here because that's a much better picture than what this one here is. But just because this comes with one battery doesn't mean you're missing out and they're not looking after Australia. What it means is, right, that some people in Australia, where we've got the modern version, where technologically we're a bit more modern, right? Most of our utes have got dual batteries and fridges, and like we can plug a battery in. It's not that hard, right? But the African version, where there's not easily chargeable, like easy charging locations, that's why they put two batteries in it. Now, so anyone that, when these come out, I will do a special pack for those people that are saying, nah, we're missing out, or that's un-Australian. I will do a special pack at whatever the battery costs. I'll add it to the price, right? So, if it comes out at 8,000 and the batteries are $249, I'll do it for $82.49 for you. 2 battery pack. There you go. So, yeah, so I don't think we're missing out. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I think they've sort of angled it towards us, and yeah, absolutely. So the battery is on the machine. So let me let me modify this picture here. So I'll see if I can zoom in. I'll see if I can get a bit tricky here, right? I'll see if I can make this giant. I know I'm looking away from you for a moment there. We're going to make this a giant, like, you know, we're going to zoom right in, right, and then we're going to push that button and it's going to go across there. So there's the lithium ion battery, okay? That slides on underneath the battery. It's like a very thin drill battery by the look of it to me. So if I just flick across to here, right, and just have a look here, which way have I got to go? That way. There's that battery there, okay? So that battery in the previous photo is clipped on the bottom there. So let's change it across there. That battery over there, that keeps changing sides on me. That battery there just clips straight on to there, right? So, right, so that is the batteries, okay? They should come out. The Dirt Fisherman. Great channel, The Dirt Fisherman. But there's an idea for Minelab, right? He's a thinker, this bloke. He's a thinker, right? Solar panels on the bucket hat, right? Charging another battery. How clever would that go? That would be proper clever. So, yes. I don't know whether I'll trade my hat, my cowboy hat for that one, so yeah. Scotty, will my Ryobi battery fit in? Mate, you can have a crack on your but I don't think so. Right. Let's get another picture up here. Let's see what we've got here left. So let's see what haven't got that photo here. I think I have. I thought I had it here. No, I don't. Anyway, so let's just have a look here. I'm just going to go into here, right? I'm going to get a bit tricky with this photo, so just bear with me here a little bit. And because there's not many photos out, and I haven't actually had a decent play with, well, I haven't played with one yet. So I'm hoping to play with one very, very shortly. Okay, so very shortly. I better have one of these things to play with very shortly. Now, how do I make that bigger? Sorry guys, I'm underprepared and got too much to say, to be honest with you. Right, here we go. So, I've zoomed in, right? So, here's the battery thing we were talking about before over one of my shoulders. There's the battery thing, right? A bit closer view of it. We'll just bring it down a little bit so it fits in. Sorry. Then, over my other shoulder, right, you will see the control panel, right? So here's the control panel. Obviously, there's a blue on the far side there. On the far side is a Bluetooth button and a something other button, brightness button, light button. And then on this side is the volume button, right? So power button on the screen, plus and minuses, ground balance and noise cancel, right? Pretty standard sort of stuff, okay? Now, what a lot of people, particularly Gold Monster people, right, will notice is that it's a very, very similar screen to what the Gold Monster is. Then when we talk about sensitivity, okay, so there's 1 to 10 of sensitivity levels, right? And then there's auto 11, auto, the first auto, and then auto plus. There's 12 levels of sensitivity. Now, we will get into the nitty gritty about what auto does and what auto plus does, as opposed to the manual settings when I've played with one, right? So that's what we'll do, okay? Now, let's just run through the spec sheet, because that's probably more about what people want to see, I suppose. Now, this is a cutout version I've done to make it a little bit bigger so everyone knows what it looks like. I've just got to fix this up here before the wheels fall off. I don't know why this has happened. I've spent a lot of time looking over the side tonight. My apologies, because that's where all the controls are. And yes. So, let's just run through here, okay? So there's 2 ground type modes, only 2. Difficult, normal, right? Double D modes, when you plug the double D coil in, I believe it auto senses that. EMI cancel, so if you're in an EMI or you're in conductive ground, so they'll be able to you'll be able to switch between those when you're in double D mode, okay? Really, really simple. Noise cancel, automatic on startup, like an STC, like a lot of other machines, and then a manual. So now the manual noise cancel is less than 5 seconds. They're talking about here. So it sounds like it's a very, very quick machine. They've listened, right, that we don't want to stand there and it takes a minute to ground balance, or we don't want a minute to do a noise cancel, or 30 seconds. We want quick, ready to go, away we go again. So, yes. So, it is a turn on and go. Now, we'll just stop there for a minute. They talk about Easy Expert. I'm sure we've published a video about Easy Expert, right? Now, the idea of this machine is to get a hugely powerful machine, right, and cram it into a turn on and go machine that it handles like a high-end machine, and you instantly, right? Instantly, you're not worried about settings. You're worried about the noises you're hearing, and you're not worried about the settings. You're listening for the gold, okay? And that is really a great thing, I think. So I think this Easy Expert theory that it's a turn on and go and super powerful will be an amazing thing for people who haven't got time to sit and muck around with settings. A lot of people might not. A lot of these guys, a lot of people that this will appeal to is people that don't go out every day, right? That aren't out there once a week, right? And it's going to be just turn on, powerful grunt, almost as good as a 7000 without touching a setting. You know what I mean? You'll be doing the basics, right? So, threshold. The threshold tone, on and off. That's it, right? Length we've talked about. It's not a color screen. It's just an LCD. Audio, right? So, inbuilt loudspeaker, right, which you've talked about. Wired headphones. Now, it's a 3.5mm jack. It's the small jack. It's not the big jack. So a lot of the headphones, with the bigger jack, I think it's 1/4-inch jack. I don't know what size that is in mils, but 1/4-inch jack won't fit in this, right? And then it's got the Bluetooth, Bluetooth headphones. It comes with Bluetooth headphones. Now, they're very low latency, so you won't get any delay on it. They reckon they've improved the technology, so there's not much delay on it. So I think the Bluetooth headphones will be a winner, except for the heat. All right? So, Jamie. So like Jamie says here, so like an SDC on steroids, but can't see the 11-inch out doing the standard SDC 8-inch. It will for depth. There's no doubt about that. Right? Apparently it goes for small gold, right? Apparently, I've heard this from a couple of people, it's as good as the SDC for small gold, but with an 11-inch coil. So just think about that for a minute. So, yeah. Now, where were we up to? So, comes with rechargeable battery. We talked about 8 hours runtime. Now, that might be a bit light, but if you're like me, you don't run a machine for 8 hours. You know, even a full day, 7 hours, because you knock off for lunch and you turn off here and there. And, you know, so 8 hours, they say approximately, surely they run it. But, yeah. Now, another thing that I'm very, very excited about, and I'm going to put to the test in the next few days, hopefully, or the next few months, is the rainproof, right? Coil submersible to a meter, detector splash rainproof. How good is that, right? There's Maddie. Maddie helps me out a lot here, telling me what size the jacks are. So this comes with a 1/4-inch jack, which is 3.5mm. Thank you, Maddie. Not the 1/2-inch jack, which is 6.5mm. You're a star, Matt. Love your work. Right, so that's really about it on the spec sheet. No one's detecting at -10. Some of us detect in +50, right? I don't know many people who detect in +50, but I have had occasions where I've had a machine on when it's over 50 degrees. Okay, So Anthony, we talked about the 2 batteries, but we only get 1. So that's more an African version of the machine. Okay, we're not missing out. We're not missing out because if it had 2 batteries, it'd be more expensive. That's how it works. You know, it's not a free battery that you're missing out. They've also got different coils. They've got the 2 mono coils. So, yeah, that's right. So, yeah. A quarter jack is 6 mil. Oh, I'm confused by these batteries. Don't tell me Matty's giving me the wrong advice here. Robert, good question. Robert, Ben, do they lose sensitivity when the batteries go low? No. Here we go. Years ago, right? I don't even think I got a bloody permanent marker here. Right, we'll have to do it with a pen, right? Years ago, batteries would start here fully charged, okay? And as your batteries got flatter and flatter, your performance would go down, right? So for a number of years now, for a long time, right, what happens now is they've got a voltage regulator, a voltage rectifier or something in them, right? I'm not the technical guy. That gives you 100% charge, then flat, okay? So batteries, you'll get 100% performance, then flat, right? The old ones, yes. I remember changing batteries after every hour, changing batteries, right? Not anymore, okay? So that was a long time ago I was doing that, but 100% then flat, okay? So, yeah. So that's what's happening with those batteries. Yeah, Phil Griffin, lithium gives full battery, full power till death, unlike the old lead acid. Straight line, then flat. That's right. Oh, God. The jack on this machine, there's a lot of conversation here about jacks, right? The jack on this machine is 3.5 mil, right? 3.5 mil. I'm avoiding myself from this conversation about jack sizes. It's 3.5 mil. So, is the firmware able to be updated? I have no information on that, nor have I seen pictures of somewhere where you can plug a USB in, or a mini USB, or one of those other things. But I'm sure it's got a port you can plug it into your computer to upgrade. The firmware or the software or whatever you want to call it in these machines, right, is going to be updatable, right? But really, it's going to only be updatable. It's going to be only updatable if there's something wrong, right? That's normally, if there's something wrong with it, they can fix it, right? I don't think you're going to get an update every year, right? But yes. Now, Peter, discrimination. Negative. Pulse induction, no discrimination. Okay. Yes. So that's right. Oh, let's have a look here. It says it on the spec sheet. Who said that? Tony Hutchinson. Tony, you're a superstar. All right. 3.5 mil jack. I can come back into the jack conversation. This is excellent. All right. Now I've lost it. 3.5 mil jack is an eighth of an inch. So I'm talking about quarters. It hasn't got a quarter. There you go. Right. Okay. Maybe updates are done over Bluetooth. Maybe. So yes. Now in all this, now I'm going to put a dampener on it all. Everyone's all excited about this machine. What have you? Now I'm going to put a dampener on it all. The most important thing, right, no matter what machine you got, is the bloke on the other end of it. Or the lady on the other end of it. Ladies are much better detectors than blokes. But the person running the machine, if you've got a 45 and you're killing it, right, and you're happy with the weight and all that sort of thing, like, you know, the person on the end of it is more important than the machine or the settings or the, yeah. So, you know, that's the idea. So, I do believe it's going to be a fantastic machine as a lightweight machine. I think a lot of people who don't like the heavier machine will tend towards this over like an SDC because it will give you more power. However, if it's just pure power and performance you want, right? The 7000 is still the king of the heap, right? It's still the king of the heap, right? This is not going to be as good as a 7. I'll guarantee that. It's not. Because they would have called it a 9000, right? So, Greg, does the 6000 come out on the 1st of April? Well, I hope it's not an April Fool's joke, that's for sure. So, I've been keen to have a crack at one of these. So my plan is, well, how I approach a new detector, right? So, when I get a new detector, let's say a new detector comes out, right? I will give myself a couple of days, okay, with the machine. And you think, oh, I'll go and hit old patches, I'll go and do this, I'll go and do that. No, what I'll do is before I do anything, I will get 2 or 3 targets in the ground, right? And I will, that I think are gold, right? That I think are gold. I'll get 2 or 3 targets, and then I will sit there with the machine in that 1 square meter or that wherever those nuggets happen to be, and I will go through and I'll put the machine in factory default, right? Then I will go, right, which do these targets sound better if I switch it from difficult to normal? And I will do one change, which is better. Ding, ding. And I work through all the settings on the machine and go, right, which is better, which is better, which is better. I've sat down with the machine for 2, 3, 4 days, right? Trying to work out what settings are best, okay? So that's my first approach. Then I go to the most flogged piece of ground I can find that I know has had gold in it. I know it has to be known to have gold in it. Okay, so if it's known to have gold, I will hit that and I will stick around that area and I will really work that ground very, very, very hard, sort of thing. So let me just get some questions here. So that's what. So any GPA, and Don says, so any GPA in Queensland? Well, pretty much, yeah. They've all had a bit of work over the yes. So Scotty, does the 6 and the 7 work on the same technology? No. The 7 works on zero point technology. I forget what the correct term is for it. And this is the 6000 is a true pulse induction machine. So what we're going to do, we're actually just discussing it today with regard to training, right? You buy a machine, a 6000 off us, and really you buy any gold machine off us, you get 2 days out. Well, not any gold machine, because some only get, all of them get training, right? But a 7000, a 6000, and a 5000 gets 2 days on the lease, right? With some real good training, okay? The SDC gets 1 day because they're fairly simple sort of thing. So training wise, we've got you covered. We've got your backs. If you've got no idea what you're doing, right? We will do the training for you. We will make it Mickey Mouse for you, okay? We will make it so that you give you the best chance, right? Yes. Andrew, will it be good for coins and parks in the route? No, it won't be. No. The problem with it is Like you take that machine to the beach. I don't even know whether it handles the beach, right? We might do some stupid things like that with it when I actually get one of my own. But I know you take a pulse induction machine to the beach, you'll hit a bobby pin at a metre, right? Now, you don't want to dig a metre and find a bobby pin, right? Same thing in a park, right? It'll find a pull tab at a metre, right? So you don't want to dig a hole in a nice park to find a pull tab, right? So no, it's the wrong machine for parks. It's the wrong machine for the beach. So absolutely the wrong machine for beaches and parks. It is a cracking. Talk to me about. I won't get into it tonight, but talk to me about a machine that will do a bit of both. But this machine is a purebred. It's a thoroughbred. It's a thoroughbred of the gold world, right? So, just a few questions that have come through, right? Again, 14-inch double D coil, right? Comes with it. Great for EMI, great for the thingo, great for salty ground, right? But most of the time, it'll be mineral. It'll be those mono coils you'll be using, right? Super lightweight. Okay, super lightweight. It's the lightest machine kicking around, pulse induction machine kicking around, and it will be. I'm really looking forward to it, to be honest with you. Right, so Cameron says if you can't handle a STC after half a day training, you should hand it back. True, right? So I've never really talked about this. So what we do at the lease, right, for training is I assume that no one knows how to detect. So we do some basic stuff at camp where this is swing speed. This is how you keep your coil flat. This is how you pinpoint a target with a large coil. This is how you dig a target. This is how you know your target's coming out of the ground. This is how you recover it in a scoop, right? We do all that sort of stuff. Then I call it tripod training because I reckon there's three things, and I'm bound never to remember them right now. But right machine, knowing how to use it, your attitude and your mindset, I think that's the most important part, and then reading the ground. So we cover those three. That takes about an hour and a half if I get talking. So I don't mind having a chat, as some of you may have noticed. But so we go through all that. Then we go and we have probably a 20-minute walk up the bush, right? I'll show you some old-timer workings. We kick around a few quartz reefs. Here's a rock, here's another rock, that sort of stuff. So that's how our training sort of works. So by 11, we're setting machines up and breaking up into, so all the 5000s are over here, the STCs are over here. So it's a bit of a process. So that's how we run our training. So in reality, the first half of the day, not quite half of the day, we start at 8 and it finishes at, 10 or 11, and we've had a walk sort of thing. By 10, we're sort of finished, 10:30. And then what happens then is we go, right, go and detect, right? Then normally is at least 2 of us out there that helps, right? So then we wander around, help out one-on-one with people sort of thing. So that's how we work it sort of thing. So then normally it's sort of 3 o'clock before the first 2 or 3 o'clock by the time the first bit of gold comes out. And then normally I reckon I'm sitting at about 80, let's say 85% of people that come out get a piece of gold with the training, okay? So, yes. So that's how our training works, okay? Why no one finds gold in the first couple of hours is because they're so excited and they're bull at a gate and they're everywhere, and it takes them a couple of hours just to wear out and settle down and just relax a little bit, get a bit frustrated, get the, you know, heebie-jeebies with it. I want to say another 5-letter word. And then what they do is they sit down, have a cup of tea, they relax and go, right, let's go up and, you know, do that. So that's how our training is done. So Damien's coming out on Saturday. Yes. So that's what's happening. There's a few people. I noticed a couple of people coming out in the weekend. So it'll be very interesting. I'm dying to get to the lease. I'll see if there's any rain there. Righto. So you got a minute and a half, right, to win a bucket hat and a cap, right? So, gold digger's mug and a bucket hat, right? Your choice of colour, right? Brown or black, right? Your choice of colour. If you win, you got to tell me what colour you want, and I'll make sure I turn it the right way out for you. So, yes. So, yes. Now, do I do pay to detect? No, I only do training at the moment because you're, because the, yeah, there's just so much, there's only so much time I can spend out there. What's the biggest size found on the lease? 3 ounce bit found on the lease. So, oh, look at all these thingos. So only a minute or two to go before we get there. So yeah. Right, so let me get this set up and started here. If anyone's got any actual questions about the 6,000, let me know. Let me know. Right, so let's get going here. Sorry. Why don't I start this before I begin? I don't know. So, right, so let's get the Facebook up here and get going. Sorry guys, I should have it up and going. I don't know why, but I'm dopey, I suppose. Quite comfortable being dopey. Right, so let's just get this going here. Right, so okay, so let's run this. I can't really contact you on the YouTube. Oh, there's going to be an argument here. So it goes to. Oh, this is going to be hard work. Arana, Curtis, Kaylee, Tom, Sarah, Arana. I think it's a. So, a hat and a cup. So, yes, Sam's cousin. Who said that? Helps you. Now, I will give you more and more information as I get it. I hope to have one in my hands in the next couple of weeks. Once I've got a bit more hands-on experience, I will be able to give you much more like real life experience. I feel like I'm guessing a bit. I don't like it much when I haven't used it, but I think it'll be fair. Well, Minelab haven't made a bad machine for a long time, so not a bad gold machine anyway. So righto. Thanks, Todd. Did I buy a new GM Silverado at the show? No, I didn't, Todd. I couldn't afford it. The show wasn't. Oh, we talked to a lot of people, but we didn't do a lot of sales. But that's how these shows go sometimes. So, yes. So no Silverado for Benny. Stick with the old cruiser. In fact, if I had the coin to buy a Silverado, I'd probably put a paint job on the cruiser and be happy with that. So that's about me. I'm happy with that. So, righto, guys, thanks very much. Having a magnificent evening. I'll see you next Monday, and we'll get all on it again. Thanks, guys.
Thanks guys for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and call us on the Daylight Helpline. See you next time.